Switching lanes now, and we're going to talk some hockey. The Predators didn't have a ton of money after they re-signed Philip Forsberg. That was project number one for the offseason. David Poile got it done. Step number two, find a top two line forward that they could afford to bring in and try to put this team over the top for next season. The Predators believe they did that last week with the signing of Nino Niederreiter, the former Carolina Hurricanes, for 2 years, $8 million total. He joins the team and brings a portfolio that includes 20 goals from last season, a nice addition to that second line for the Predators. And here was Nino Niederreiter after the deal was done.
Hey, Nino, welcome to Nashville. After deciding to test free agency, I'm wondering what it was about Nashville that made you want to pull the trigger on a deal.
I mean, I had Nashville definitely very high on my list, and knowing Yossi and a bunch of the other guys made it a lot easier to come to Nashville. And I think Nashville is such a great city, and I'm very excited to go there.
Jared Stillman of 102.5 The Game, you're up next.
Yeah, I got two questions. So if you leave my mic up, I'd appreciate that. Nino, the last couple of years, you've been on a team that has been competing for a cup. How close is this team with your addition to compete at that level?
I think very close. I mean, when we played against Nashville 2 years ago, and we had a really hard time beating them. I mean, they're such a competitive team. They skate really hard. They're very physical and hard to compete. And I think we had a really tough time. And I think this team is not very far from having such a great run.
And to that point, there were rumors yesterday that Matthew Tkachuk is looking to move and that the Predators would be on his list. What do you think adding that caliber of player could do for this roster right now?
I mean, definitely a lot. I mean, he's a terrific player. I mean, he had a lot of points last year. And, I mean, obviously players like that don't come around very often. And he would be definitely a great addition. But at the end of the day, it's not in my power to say. But, I mean, obviously he would be great in the team.
Teresa Walker from Associated Press.
Nino, welcome to Nashville. With your familiarity with Johansson from your days in the minors, with Roman obviously on the Switzerland team, and then also with Mikhail in Minnesota, that maybe helped this transition to Nashville when you've got guys that you're that familiar with?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, knowing Yossi for quite a lot of time made it very easy to come. But knowing that I have a chance to play potentially with Johansson or Granlund made things a lot easier too. Like you mentioned, I played with Johansson for quite some time in the minors, and obviously with Granny and Minnie, and so knowing all these guys definitely made it a lot easier to come to Nashville.
Chris Harris from WSMV.
Nino, where did they tell you they envision you playing, and what was your role that they kind of planned out for you?
Not really. I had a short talk with the coach, and we didn't go that far. I mean, everything happened so quickly, and then you get one phone call after the other. But we did talk a little bit. I think we're going to talk a little more next week about the position and what he thinks, where I should be playing and what I should do and can bring to the team. And that's definitely something which I'm looking forward to hear.
Kayla Anderson from WKRN.
Hey, Nino, welcome to Nashville. Just your thoughts on John Hynes. I don't know if you've ever come across him in your past, but just what do you know about him and the way that he kind of has changed this group into being a really physical group?
I mean, I heard a lot of great things about him, and obviously he was Nico Hisch's coach in New Jersey, and now obviously he's with the Preds, and I know he likes an honest physical hockey game, and I think that's something which I think I tried to play at least, and I think that's why it's another big thing why I came to Nashville, and I hope I can bring to the table what he likes.
Joe Rexrode from The Athletic.
Yeah, Chris sort of asked my question, but along those lines, Nino, I'm just wondering if that in particular drew you to this team, the fact that they have become such a physical team, and whatever your specific role is, how you think you fit in that way.
I think I'm going to fit in perfectly. I think, I mean, it's the way they play. I think it's exactly the way I like to play, playing that physical game, but at the same time trying to bring the finesse when there's a chance to do so. And And I think that's a big reason why I chose that team, because like I said, we played against them 2 years ago, and I thought back then they play a great style of hockey, and now I might have a chance to play for them. So hopefully it works out perfect.
Alex Doherty, A to Z Sports.
Hi, Nino. I'm just curious about the decision to come to Nashville for 2 years as opposed to maybe going elsewhere for more years or asking for more years in Nashville. Was it something about just playing in Nashville for a couple of years, committing to that 2 years that was especially interesting to you?
To be honest, it's tough to say. I mean, going into free agency, you never know what's going to happen. You want to make sure you put yourself in the best position possible and playing for a team which you really want to play for. And coming to Nashville, I think it's going to be a great fit for myself. And if I sign for 2 years, it gives me a chance to sign another contract afterwards with the Preds, hopefully. And if things don't go as well as planned, then you have another chance to sign another deal somewhere else. But I think the biggest thing for myself, I want to make sure I play the best hockey possible for Preds, and hopefully you can sign longer afterwards.
Emma Healy from the Tennessean.
Hi, Nino. You mentioned this a little bit earlier, but I don't know if you noticed this or this was part of your considerations when you're thinking of coming to Nashville, but Nashville had a couple points last season where it struggled to score. What skills do you think you bring to the table that'll help pick up the offensive momentum, and was that part of your consideration at all?
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I love scoring goals, and I think there's a lot of great goal scorers on Nashville. And I think for my particular style of play, I think I'm very good around the net, and I think that's something which I think was a little bit missing in the past there, and I think that's something which I can bring to the table and finding a way to get those greasy goals, I would say.
Jill Jelnick from Fox 17.
Hey, Nino, welcome to Nashville. I know you mentioned that the city, I think you said it was an exciting city. You're looking forward to come here, obviously. But when it comes to the fan base here in Nashville, it's a little unique. What has kind of been the reputation, and what do you know of the fan base, and how excited are you to kind of fit into Smashville, this city?
I'm super excited. I mean, playing against them was always very hard. I mean, they're a very passionate fan base, very loud, and coming into the building it's always hard to play in, and playing for them. Obviously this year it's going to be a lot of fun, and knowing all the teams coming in the building and knowing how tough it is to play there, it's definitely going to be a lot of fun.
Jill, you had another? All right, we'll go back to Zach then. Zach Gilchrist.
Nashville picked up Ryan McDonough and re-signed Forsberg in the last few weeks. Are those kind of pieces of the puzzle that get you excited for your future with the team?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with McDonough, he's such a terrific defenseman. He knows how to win. I mean, he won with Tampa Bay, and he's a terrific player. And always with Forsberg, he's been in Preds for a long time, and I think you guys all know, we all know in the end, and the whole league knows what he's capable of doing, and he shows night in and night out how good he is. And I mean, he's going to be very fun to watch, and hopefully get a couple of shifts with him, and he's definitely terrific.
All right, Chris Harris, back to you.
Nino, you said a couple of times that you don't think the Preds are very far from making a run. What about this team makes you believe that?
From what Yost told me, I mean, the whole chemistry, I mean, going very far, not just like the personal things are huge. And Yost keeps telling me how great of group of guys they are. And I think that's something which is very important if you want to go all the way.
Michael Gallagher from Nashville Post.
Hey, Nino, kind of piggybacking off of